Okay, so for 14 years I was a Samsung fanboy. I've literally only ever used Samsung phones. I thought the iPhone was dumb, made for people that were sort of technologically challenged. They were incredibly locked down and were stupidly expensive. I sort of felt morally superior by using Android. I was using something that I thought was more sensible and wasn't being influenced by some marketing scheme. That was until I got my MacBook. It completely changed my perspective on Apple and possibly my entire life. And so, 2 years ago, I decided to make the switch. To switch to the iPhone. And I managed to find something that I'd thought I'd never find. Peace. But first, let's talk Android versus iPhone. Back in the early 2010s, this wasn't just a preference, it was an identity.
So we're putting controls in place.
An iPhone or an Android?
Apple versus Google price.
Android was the rebel. The open source, personalizable operating system that gave users more freedom to tailor their mobile experience. Apple, on the other hand, was the mainstream overlord. Strict, controlled, but refined. Android fanboys bullied Apple fanboys for being cheap, and Apple fanboys bullied Android fanboys for being poor. Fast forward to 2026, this debate has changed quite a lot. Both operating systems are now stupidly powerful. The gaps between iOS and Android have become so small, and both systems always copying off each other. And I'ma be real, I've never actually used a modern Android device.
You haven't tried the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, or the Pixel 9 Pro, or the OnePlus 13.
You're right. It's a little unfair. It's unfair to compare the two without having tried the latest Androids. But this isn't a comparison video, it's a personal one. When I was younger, personalization and affordability were the things that mattered most when buying anything. I didn't have any money. And coming from an Asian immigrant family,
I don't have money!
We weren't the most well off, so naturally Samsung and Android made the most sense. My parents bought me this beautiful Samsung phone. And from then on, I decided that every single phone I get will now be Samsung. I then got the Galaxy Note 3 with its leather-like back cover, AMOLED screen, the stylus, and TouchWiz, Samsung's janky as hell Android skin, and this liquid thing on the lock screen. Someone at Samsung, please bring it back. Now, as janky as most of the features were, there was always something quite unique about all of them. It gave this phone its own identity, and I felt like I could take on everything life threw at me with this phone by my side. From there, I moved to the Note 2, then the Note 5, and finally the Note 9. Now, the Note 9 might be one of the best phones ever made, not just for its raw power, but for giving people what they actually wanted. I loved customizing themes, eventually playing around with Nova Launcher. It was the best standalone phone. Powerful, personal, but it never really felt connected to anything. As I got older, things like deciding which clock design to put into my lock screen no longer gave me that same excitement. Downloading and installing APKs just felt annoying. Adding Hello widgets, installing several launchers, formatting the phone, it always slowed down the phone eventually. And not to mention, iPhone photos always looked better for some reason. One day, completely unrelated, I got hella frustrated with my Windows laptop. So I bit the bullet and got myself the M1 MacBook Pro. And it completely changed my perspective on Apple. For the first time, I stopped seeing my tech as something to have to constantly tweak, but as something that just makes life easier.
And the result is something truly special.
Even if that means saying goodbye to my wallet. So I wondered what the iPhone could look like. Now, around this time, Apple announced they were launching an iPhone with a USB-C.
So we're bringing USB-C to iPhone 15.
Holy Okay, Tim, my wallet is spread and ready to go. And just like that, I pre-ordered my very first iPhone. Now, one thing was immediately noticeable. The actual feeling of holding this phone in my hand is incredible. The matte texture glass on the back feels soft yet premium. I hold it and suddenly all my problems disappear. This sort of low-key elegance has been pretty consistent with the way Apple's been operating for years. Now, coming from an older Android device, it first took me quite a while to get used to the gestures. That or I might be stupid. Like macOS, it's clear that Apple wants the whole experience to be super user-friendly. The onboarding is very welcoming, the corners are rounded, animations are smooth as hell, and the haptics are the best I've ever felt. Combined with subtle fades and visual cues, using this phone makes me feel very calm, like an old man being gently guided across the street. Spotlight is also incredible. Snappy, intelligent, and it's very forgiving even if you misspell something. It feels like it knows what you're looking for even before you do. All the information, all the visual cues are very easy to understand. There's no tinkering, no setup, and there's no fiddling around with settings to make things feel right. Tim has already decided what right should feel like.
Products that make things simpler, easier, and more enjoyable.
And all that's left for you to do is just live your life. Now, is this sad? Maybe. I mean, some choices made by Apple are pretty insane, which I'll get to later in the video. But it's definitely given me back a lot of brain capacity to focus on more important things in my life. Apps also feel a lot more polished. I mean, tell me why when uploading an Instagram story from my Galaxy, the quality gets absolutely f***ed. But on iPhone, it keeps the original quality.
Wow.
Now this is honestly my favorite part of this phone. Every shot on the iPhone feels very natural. And in my opinion, people look better and moments feel more real. I pull it out, tap, shoot, change my pants, and repeat. Videos are insanely smooth, hella stabilized, and look incredible straight out of the box. And ProRes and Log give it even more depth, without any extra effort. The performance has also stayed flawless, even after more than 2 years. There is absolutely no lag and no slowdown. Now, I've heard that this isn't the case for all iPhone users, but every Android I used started dying around the 2-year mark. And of course, we can't forget the ecosystem.
Into the Apple ecosystem.
Apple ecosystem.
The Apple ecosystem.
The ecosystem.
I used to think that people were taking the piss. But ladies and gentlemen, it is real. It is so smooth. Photos instantly sync with my Mac. I can send and receive messages straight from my Mac. I can even use my phone from my Mac. I'm not sure why you want to, but you can. Wi-Fi passwords share automatically and AirDrop is incredible. Samsung and other Android devices also have their own ecosystems that are feature-packed. But I think the convenience here and what makes it so good is how fast and easy everything is. Okay, so we've glazed Apple enough. No operating system is going to be perfect. For example, the Mac still has backward scrolling. And while the iPhone is good, there are still some things that I really miss from my Android. As we know, iOS and Apple follows a design philosophy rooted in simplicity. Sometimes Apple likes to remove noise, so that only the most important elements are visible at any moment.
If something doesn't need to be there, it's not there.
Now this means that you don't get a number row on your keyboard because f*** you. The typing experience on Android is by all means superior to Apple. I mean, why do I need to click on another button to enter numbers, then tap it again to switch back to letters? This makes typing in emails and passwords pretty annoying. There is also no system-wide always hide keyboard option, which in 2026 is pretty insane. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's be real. Apple Intelligence and Siri sucks a lot of ass. Hey Siri, what's my schedule looking like today? They're like that coworker who really means well but still manages to ruin every project. Even Clippy is more useful. I mean, every time I try to use it, it either lags for 5 seconds, tells me here's what I found on the web, or if I want to ask ChatGPT. Thanks Siri, I could have done that myself. The animation is pretty sick though. Now, it was supposed to be more contextually aware.
More natural, more contextually relevant, and of course more personal to you.
But the only context it seems to understand is how to disappoint me consistently. Google, please come back. Notifications are done a lot better on Android. They're grouped neatly per app and they're easy to dismiss. It's like Android actually respects your attention span. On iPhone, it's complete chaos. I really miss the physical fingerprint scanner. Face ID is great. Until you're half awake at 3 AM in bed trying to open your phone, but it refuses to recognize your goblin-ass looking face. With a fingerprint, I could just tap and I was in. There's no weird angles, no awkward eye contact with the camera. Now Apple finally stopped smoking that good stuff and fixed the Photos app. Kind of. For those of you that don't know, iOS 18 absolutely butchered the Photos app. For some reason, the bottom nav bar was completely gone and you were forced to scroll for ages. Featured photos and memories were everywhere. Rather, I just want to browse my pictures and not have my phone trauma dump my life as a cinematic montage. Now, iOS 26 made it a little better. It still, however, has a section for all your memories. Also, why is it so goddamn hard to move files in and out of this phone? I just want to create backups of my photos onto my external hard drive and downloaded MP3 files to listen to. And there is just no easy way to do this on this phone. So of course, file management on the iPhone is whack. Because why would you need to manage files on iPhone when everything is so easy to use and access? Everything just works.
And it just works.
But just once in a while, there are times when I want to find a specific document I've downloaded in the past. And every time this happens, I get an aneurysm. Is it in my iCloud downloads? Is it in my iPhone downloads? Who knows? Now, both operating systems serve different needs, lifestyles, and values. But I think it also depends on the existing devices and ecosystems you already have. But at this point in my life, I really enjoy using this phone.
Appreciate it very much, Tim Apple.
The bouncy animations, the snappiness of the apps, the camera, the hardware quality, and the peace it brings to my life. Android was really nice while I had it, and I've made so many good memories. But for now, whether you're a long-time iPhone or an Android user, and if you're in the position to do so, I encourage you to try to prove yourself wrong. You might just find something beautiful.